Hello, and welcome back to the Basics of Gardening. My name is Andrea Candinosa, and today we're going to be discussing how to harvest your vegetables and how to prepare for the next season. This is my favorite part of the whole gardening process because this is when you can get an award for all of your hard work. After months of being outside under the hot sun, in the heat, you can finally get to see the fruit of your labor. So, your vegetables are ready. That's great. But what do you do from there? When do you pluck the veggies and how do you pluck them? Well, if you look at the back of your seed packet, you should be able to figure out when your vegetables are ready. But if it's a vegetable that you're pretty familiar with seeing, then you should be able to figure out when it's done because it has a certain look to it. For example, if you're planting tomatoes and they seem green, then you know that they're not ready yet. Over the next few days, the tomatoes start to become red, but they're not fully red, so you wait to pluck them until they're perfectly red. As long as you feel that they're ready to pluck, then pluck them. If they're still not ready, then let them sit on your counter for a few days until they look good. So, now that you know when to pluck them, let's talk about how to pluck them. My favorite method is the twist. Some people prefer to yank the vegetables off, but then you might be pulling on the plant. That's why I like the twist method. All you do is take the vegetable in your hand and turn it a few times until it gets off the plant. That being said, please make sure that you aren't twisting the actual stem or else you might hurt the plant. If you think that you aren't ready to use this method yet, then you can use scissors. Yep, you heard me right, scissors. Just make sure that you're cutting near the top of the vegetables and you should be good. Okay, so now that you've taken all your vegetables off your plants, it's time to start preparing for the next season. The first thing that I like to do is remove all of the dead plants in my garden. This will make room for next season's plants. After removing all of the plants, I like putting them in a compost bin. Wait a second, what is composting? According to the nrdc.org, composting is a natural process of recycling organic matter such as leaves and food scraps into a valuable fertilizer that can enrich soil and plants. By putting the dead plants in a compost bin, I can use those plants to help my plants in the future. That way, all of the effort that I put in that plant can benefit me even after its death. So once I compost all of the old plants, I like to go through and look to see if there are any weeds in the soil. If there are, then I like to remove them just so that they don't become a bother in the future. Since there will be no more plants to get the nutrients from the soil, weeds will start trying to spring up, so before you plant new seeds, make sure that your garden is weed-free. After I've done all the weeding in my garden, I check to see how my soil is looking. Your soil is going through so much, so it's going to be easier for your soil to dry out or look like it's lacking luster. When this happens, I like to add new soil to my garden, put nutrients in my soil, or I might even add a few worms to help any of the old roots or fallen leaves in the soil to completely decompose and bring the soil back to its optimal state. Be sure that when you start picking seeds to plant for the next season, that they're for that specific season. And now that we know how to harvest our plants and how to prepare for the next season, then we know all the basics of gardening. Thank you so much for being a part of this journey, and please stay tuned for the last video. Once again, thank you guys so much.